All right, fellas, hey, welcome back, man. Big Six, another episode kicking at y'all. It's good to be here. You know, we're going to give Johnny his shout out. You know, he happened to.
You ain't got to give it to me.
Okay.
I earned this.
You right. I got it. Hey, you did.
You know what? Because I'm going to just put it out there. Because G was raggedy and kept setting me up. He set Johnny up. That's why I'm sitting over here.
Accountability.
No, ain't no accountability. Look,
you, Johnny.
when he can't play and he's playing sorry, I'm sorry. You know what? I digress. You know what? Let me say like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
In spite of
LNS, like and subscribe.
Please, because somebody got to like this game.
Wow. Well, hey, Big Six, go on and kick it off on it. But, you know, as we kick it off today, I think it's good that we look at where we're out as a race of people.
15. I ain't playing with y'all.
It don't stop, huh? I see.
I'm the champ, bro.
Okay, the champ is here.
Tom, hold
the
it,
champ
man.
is here.
Oh, but look, the odds are against you because you sitting in front of Greg. It's just terrible.
I don't think you had nothing to do with it, Nuke.
Wow. Hey, all I'm going to say is that
Me at 10.
it's Tom doing his thing as we go through. But check this out. I think as we kick this episode off, you know, let's look at this. Are we better off today versus yesterday as a race of people?
Ooh.
In whatever capacity you want to say, good, bad, or indifferent. Are we better off?
You know what? Let me.
How do you want to do it?
Let me. I got to take a stab at this because when I think of are we better off, I need context, and to me the context is thinking back to when there was the, community of people that you went to church with, that you grew up around. That these were your family members. If you got in trouble down the street, they spank you, take you home, and you get spanked when you got home. And so if you're asking in that context,
tension,
I'd argue I don't think we're better off.
I agree with that. That the neighborhood aspect is gone. We've moved to the suburbs. We've put our kids in private schools. And AAU basketball, and I'm not saying anything's wrong with that, but it's no more.
Sound like you
I'm not saying anything's wrong with it because there's more opportunities, but it's no basketball at the park anymore.
I feel you.
Where
good
you
save.
went up there and
good save, man.
Played on the goal.
Yeah, milk carton crate. Y'all know nothing about that. Milk carton.
But I think in terms of opportunities and jobs, we've had more.
Speaking my
but
language,
have we? Because when you say we've had better opportunities and jobs, I think there is a subset of us that has more opportunities than we may have had in the past.
But Dan, I'll go ahead and be
Twanky.
Man,
Twanky.
Johnny up here hitting them up.
The champ is this.
Look, it all emanates in one place. That's all I'm gonna say, man.
I can't even say nothing to it, but you know what? I'm gonna do it like this.
Y'all might want to stay on topic, man.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do something.
Y'all might need to change the game.
I got him.
But check this out.
We didn't play big sick backgammon or something instead of
bone. We to do something.
20.
Go ahead, G. I'm gonna set you up. Set G up. Hey, but here's what I was gonna say. We kind of talked about this probably about 3, 4, 5 months ago, right? And I was on the opposite side. I said, I'm better off. If I look at, as far as education, I got a master's degree. My mother and father, finished high school and college. I make more money than both of them probably put together times 2. When you look at it in the suburbs, the house I have has a little
attention.
Got to be more careful.
Stay focused, bro.
Stay focused on this. Man,
hey, I don't think he's better off than he was before.
I ain't better off. Tom, okay, we're gonna change this up a little bit. But in terms of it maybe materialistic stuff.
That's stuff, though.
But I'm just saying, what? So Dan, I think when you put the right context on it, are we better off? In some cases, yes. But I think when you really boil it down, maybe not as much.
I don't think we are in total. I think there's more opportunities. We've had jobs and everything, but in totality, man, I think we eat worse because we probably eat less home cooked meals. You know,
But I mean, lard, all the stuff you was cooking with back in
don't matter.
But Grandpa had Grandpa had garden in the backyard.
It's out the garden.
Now Grandpa in the club. You feel me?
No preservatives.
No
preservatives.
No preservatives.
No steroid.
No
Yeah.
chemical induced.
I mean, just think growing up, how often did you eat fast food or eat out compared to now?
Vastly different.
You know, how often do you
Yeah,
eat in?
it's not even special.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
a
no.
special deal.
Oh, it was very special.
Red Lobster was a special deal.
Yeah, you used to go to this cafeteria
kids-
type place.
Yeah, kids would turn their nose up if you said, let's go to Luby's for dinner.
Not mine, because they like to eat.
He gonna go to lose. He gonna go to lose.
Attention,
But
please.
you know, Papa Do's used to be like a birthday or anniversary.
But let's get back to the question: are we better off, either individually or collectively? I'm gonna put it into two subsets. I think collectively, we're worse.
I agree.
Yep.
There were many minority-owned, black-owned businesses. We had our own neighborhoods. We had our own schools. But due to integration, which I think was one of the worst things that happened, hindsight, it was one of the worst things that ever happened to us because it took away our power.
Yep.
Because we wanted so badly to assimilate, and educationally, I think it killed us.
But you know,
And we spend
Hold on.
spend our money at other places.
Right.
Versus our
The other
own.
thing is, we had pride in our business ownership at the time. My grandparents were business owners, had an Unco, which turned into Exxon, business for over 58 years. Okay. Had rental properties when I didn't know what rental properties were. Okay. All I know, we still buy and collect money from this house, from these people. That's all I knew. But collectively, I think we are worse off because our educational system went down, okay? Because we had teachers who cared, okay? That was their job. If you were an educator or a postal worker or in the clergy, those were our power employment agencies, okay?
and you were proud.
And you were pride. You had pride, and the lack of black pride has dissipated due to various issues. You know, it's all by design, not by accident. Now the other part is, individually, sure, we're better in a lot of cases, but again, that's part of the divide and conquer, strategy. They take away the male from the household, therefore it weakens the whole family structure. Okay, so we're not better in that respect in the family structure. Individually, I'm better than my parents, my grandparents. As Rob said, make more money, but they did more with their money. It seems like you had 10 children, and you had Papa was working from sun up to sundown.
Send everybody to college.
It seemed like send everybody to college, and it seemed like they had more than we did. Yeah. So in some instances, we're better off, in others, we're not so good. And I'll get to another point as we come around, because I think some things that have changed, and you can call it conservative views, that's some good shit that I miss, like respect for your elders, respecting oneself, that self-pride, black pride, that's gone.
So, I mean,
Go ahead.
I'm confused.
Don't
You said
be.
yes, but no.
I said in some ways, collectively,
Okay, I was just trying to.
we are worse. Individually, I think we're better because
Okay.
we are
All right.
educated on a better.
And that's where I was.
Economically, we're there.
Right.
But again, family structure wise, collectively, I think we're worse off.
Well,
play, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Arriving here at the studio today, right? Your mother's here and your mother-in-law is here, right? Which I thought was, and I immediately said, hey, that's beautiful, right? That's something I wish I can experience, right? So that's beautiful. And then as each member arrived, the first thing we did, deference.
Oh, absolutely.
Introduce, hug, show love to those people. Even though this is your home and this is your wife, and y'all understood that off top. Hey, it's a pleasure to me. Bet. So, how many of our youth would understand that's and appreciate that is
That's
what
part
you're
of the
supposed
lost
to
thing
do?
that I'm talking about.
But why you lose it though? And here I'll go back because we did so punk
Oh, yes.
parents. And I mean, why did we lose it? Because guess what?
I'll tell you.
Our kids don't come programmed.
I'll tell
It's
you.
on you and I.
Absolutely.
I was going to
if
say,
you're
but I think
talking-
our kids would do it.
Absolutely. I mean,
I don't think
absolutely.
all kids would do it.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
think
I think generationally,
Because if
what
our
you're
kids don't
speaking
do
to-
it,
Yeah.
we
Like-
gonna get on them.
individually, my kids are gonna do it, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure because if they don't, I'm gonna get right in that behind.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, collectively, I think this Generation X, which they call lost generation, I hate to hear that term because it cancels a culture or it cancels a whole generation, which is what they want. I'm not of the faction that it's a lost generation. However, they're truly damaged. Okay. Truly damaged. Now, my children, your children, everyone here, I do believe our children would be mannerable enough because we taught them as we were taught. Now, everybody didn't do that in our generation.
Right.
And I think it's a lack of respect for oneself that you don't do that. No way would I walk into a senior. First thing I did, what did I do when I came in?
Absolutely, I witness it. But it's to your point though. It's knowledge though, right? It's
Well, knowledge
it's not
is what?
it's not being taught. Power, absolutely. It's not being taught. So it's not all about teaching, finances, or it's teaching how to be a young man or a young woman. You know what I'm saying?
See, that went
Hold on,
back. That's why when he said better off, because again, growing up,
Man.
my grandparents didn't have education, but they knew yes, ma'am,
Right.
no, sir, or whatever. That was instilled.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you,
I think-
my grandmother used to tell us common sense ain't so common anymore.
Right.
See, these are things
Yeah,
that
you play.
didn't even really have to be taught because we showed it.
Yeah.
And our children, we saw it, so we emulated that which we saw. Right now, hold on.
Right.
That was put into place. Right. So if you do something negative, guess what they're gonna see and do. Have that negative connotation in their mind and in their thought process. Now, on the flip side, when you see that respect being given to a senior, then guess what you're going to do? You're going to emulate that which you see the youngsters, our children. So it doesn't have to necessarily be you make sure that you do this, but when they see it being done, they do it. And
Hold
I think
Hold on. Let me.
I was going to say, but I think collectively as a race
collectively, this is different.
I think we off base.
Okay.
And I'm saying I think that's I put a lot of that on integration. I put a lot of it on the desire to move, which is part, I guess, back down the integration, move to the suburbs
Progress.
because we don't have the neighbor next door
we've known
checking
for
your
40
child
years.
when they around the corner, you not
shot.
seeing them. And so it's I think that's where we really have lost it is
That's-
integration, but I think that also afforded us opportunities to work.
That's what I say.
at big
It's
companies
a
and stuff.
dichotomy because the very thing that we wanted, which was the integration part, is also what
15.
took away from our family structure. Okay, so you give and you take. It's a total dichotomy, man. I mean, we got it on flip sides. It's like flipping a coin. You got heads and the tails. You lose something, but you gain something.
So I totally look. I've heard a lot, and I've been waiting to say this because I think what
25.
what we're missing.
Damn.
And yes, you could say it was we moved to the suburbs.
I said 25.
I heard that first time you said it all night.
Let me get that same
But look,
25.
what have we done to ensure a lot of the norms
you got me
that
saying
we
25.
had were
I was
passed
over
down?
there. That's-
Because I can speak for myself. I learned how to play
15, please.
bid whist, sitting in my father's lap. I was 6, 7 years old, arranging his cards. I learned how to play dominoes because
don't
You need to shoot that person.
no, it doesn't even matter.
No, not,
Shoot
no,
that
it-
person.
it-
I shoot the person or
show,
whatever.
Show respect to the. No,
Man, look,
don't put nobody in that, bro.
All right, but what we don't do is do we drag our kids along and say, hey, you gonna come with me and you gonna learn how to play dominoes. It doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter because okay, you live in a better neighborhood, but I tell you what, there wasn't a place my father went that if I saw his truck starting up, I'm going.
I'm with you, Dan.
Dan, so I think that is powerful.
awesome.
I think there are so many other things that is raising our kids now.
Yeah.
Because when Tom, you talked about it, the week before, talking about wasting time on social media, Instagram or something like that, sitting there for hours watching the fight at Popeyes. That's a form of entertainment. They're being programmed by what they
That's
see.
a form of 20.
Right.
It got to be the seat, huh? I might have to sit over there
I just want to underscore that
be the domino.
Greg single-handedly is blowing up the game.
You will not put that
But
on
I mean, when you look at it, it wasn't much to do. It wasn't no playing on iPads or anything of that nature.
We had Atari. We
Man,
had
Atari in the 80s, man. Back in the 70s, you ain't have Atari. Is it in television?
No.
Was the
Man,
game at that point?
I had that football game that zzz.
We all had that. But you know what you had? Bing. It was table tennis on the TV.
Yes, pool table.
5, please.
Like,
Game on it.
Game on that. But I think to your point, though, it go back is that we were able to roll and spend quality time with our family. Mm-hmm. At this present point, we have so many things that's entertaining our kids.
Entertaining us.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say,
Entertaining us as well,
and
yeah.
at a cost to our community because, like you said, the kids don't come pre-programmed.
Yeah.
Let me touch base on this, right? So we're talking about, and you bring up a good point, right? Like teaching kids things.
Was that?
Almost.
Almost.
It irritates me that, and it saddens me that some people don't understand what music and how music, it brought us all up. We all know Isleys. We all know Mays. We all know Frank. We all know that. Mm-hmm. And I just said, man, if you're black and you don't have like kind of music as a core, I don't care what kind of music it really is, but if you don't have that, I feel sorry for you.
it's cultural.
It is, but the way that they spoke to females, the way they use the stories, right, as opposed to right now, you turn on the radio and you turn on the urban channel, it's me and my killers. We've got to, F some B's, right?
Yeah.
Then you flip to the pop station, and it's almost like what we used to say they're saying now. We're walking hands, you're such a beautiful queen, blah, blah, blah. So that's programming. That's radio programming. So it's no wonder why we're at where we are as a people. Man.
But this is the one thing that I think a lot of us get.
Are they
on
washed?
You. Yes.
I didn't hear them being washed.
Yeah, they were washed.
Okay.
The thing is, the programming is the key. And this is not by accident, guys. It's by design. I mean, we all know this. But at the same time, they put things on via musically or on television series. I mean, right now, everything's ratchetness, okay? With, with this live TV and all this BS that they have. This is all, what's your plan? It's all programming because this is what they want us to see. When you look at any, and I saw this on a 2020 expose on ABC News. When you look at any human resource center, they show it in a major metropolitan area on a Martin Luther King Boulevard in a major city. So what is that telling you? Black people on social services. Now, it wasn't designed for us. If every black woman, child, boy, girl were on social assistance, we still wouldn't dominate or be the majority that's on public assistance. But here's the problem. When they show this, they show it with a black face.
What you believe?
So, but hold on.
And they also show, every time, but when they show this, Dan, and when they show the ghetto, you hardly ever hear them say the barrio. You hardly ever hear them say as much about poor white trash areas, if you want to call it that, West Virginia, Kentucky, right? See, they don't want to show that programming, which is what the social services were for.
Bro, they stormed the Capitol and the word thug was never used. The Capitol? I mean, chilling in Nancy Pelosi's desk with the feet up.
Right, defecated.
What's going on, man? Like,
Again.
But hold on. I got to pull us back, though. I got to pull us back. Are we better off? With all that being said, right? I don't care, but MLK been MLK forever, right?
Right.
Are we better off? Hold on. Think about the pride that kids had. When you came to Houston, I went to Jack Yates, right?
The Ridge.
I went to Willow Ridge. The kids don't have that same thing. If I just pick on Johnny, right?
I touched on it earlier, but I'll come back.
I've met at least 20 people, and we had Everett.
The Ridge, baby.
Who went to Ridge Point.
No, Willow Ridge.
I'm sorry, Willow Ridge.
Don't you
went to Willow Ridge, and it was a community at that point, right? And Brentwood was a community. So, Madison, where Tom grew up, was a community.
Yep.
And there's something to be said about a community. I don't think we needed to move to the suburbs. We just had to care about our community.
Mm-hmm. These are things that I talked about when I said some conservative viewpoints are not conservative in political realm conservatism, but conservative viewpoints, when I say that, I'm simply speaking of good old common sense things.
Same thing.
These things were taken away from us by, for instance, when the legislation came down, Brown versus Board of Education, Topeka, Kansas. Well, here's the thing. We got the right to be educated, but guess what? It's a job for these teachers now, where it used to be a community effort to educate our children, black teachers, whip your behind, corporal punishment, whip your behind, but it meant something back then, 15. It meant something back then. But here's the deal. It was a caring process.
Right.
When you have others who come in and have taught us, it's a job. They don't give a damn whether you learn or not.
But here's the difference.
So that's why the punk ass parenting comes in.
But here's the difference.
There's no difference.
Today, if the teacher puts their hands on the kid, the mother's gonna go up to the school and want to fight the teacher.
Dan, I totally agree with you. But again, I said corporal punishment. It meant something coming from someone who looks like you.
Yes, absolutely.
Not someone who comes in from another ethnicity. Let's be crystal clear.
Shout out all teachers, by the way. Salute.
Yeah.
Teachers, underpaid, overworked,
right.
should be federally funded.
That's coming from a winner.
So I'm just saying. But anyway, I think it's a problem, Dan, because of who it's coming from, if that makes sense. These people don't care. It's a job for them, Dan. It's a check.
Okay.
So they don't care if your children or my children are truly educated, as long as they behave, don't do anything crazy to the teachers and the system, and they go home at 5 o'clock and they're done.
So, Mr. Bland,
they don't call your house and tell you Lauren's not doing her work.
Oh, yes, they do.
Well, your daughter, our daughters went to school, they do.
Yeah.
But we're talking about inner city, in our neighborhoods, right. Black and brown.
They just want to get them through. Yeah.
Job.
Yep.
Big
so
difference.
Look, because we are on a time schedule. As Mr. Bland would always say. So I think we could talk about this all day, but are we better off than we were? And I want to just go around the room and give you guys a chance to wrap it up. And I'm gonna start with Mr. Bland.
Let me come back to me. I'm sitting here trying to figure out how Tom gonna.
Don't. It's 10 to go. Don't worry.
He got 10 to go. So
yeah. So
I'm playing.
Back to me on that day.
Say uncle.
I'm playing what I got.
Say uncle, and we can start.
Come back to me and go on to G. G got a lot to say.
All right, come on, G.
The question is, are we better off?
Yes.
Again, I'm gonna go back to as I stated from the beginning. Collectively, I say no. Individually, in a lot of instances, yes. I'm able to go to a PWI, which is not that important. I graduated from an HBCU, let's be clear, Texas Southern University.
Are SWAC.
However, I am SWAC. But here's the thing. The opportunity is there for me to do other things where my parents didn't necessarily have the opportunity. See, that's a big difference. Now, whether you choose to do A or B, if you have an opportunity, you can do A or B. They had no opportunities, per se, other than to survive the best way they could. So we are better off in many ways. Some ways we are not. And I think if I had to pick and choose and say, just overall, are we better? I say no.
Play your big six.
I say no. I will. I will play that.
So I'll come back now. Are we better off today than we were yesterday as a race of people? I would say no, we're not. And the reason I would say I don't think we're better off, because while we have probably more book sense, we don't have as much common sense. And I think we're living under a thought belief that it's about me, myself, and I.
What does the Bible say? Each generation becomes what? Weaker but wiser.
Weaker. And I mean, I think, and that's my point. I think it is all about me. It's the I syndrome, so there is no you, me, and my brother's keeper. So I would say inevitably we're not better off as a race. Mm-hmm. Individually, maybe yes, but collectively, no. Johnny, go on and spit, since you only had 10 points to get.
Let Tom hit it, because Johnny got to concentrate.
Okay.
I feel about the same as what G was saying. I think in terms of, and you almost have to define better off.
Right.
You know, if it's the opportunity to make more money than our parents ever made, yeah.
What's the key
But we
word?
probably
Opportunity.
spend more money than our parents ever made, and I'm sure their dollars went a hell of a lot longer than our dollars.
No
you know,
doubt.
because they probably did a lot of cooking at home, and you know, everything else. Right.
Had cows for milk.
Right. But in terms of society, I mean, I just hate to see where we as a race are morally, you know, and I think that's the whole country, not just blacks, but morally. So a lot of things that we talked about that would have been acceptable. What y'all doing, man? Y'all doing codes and shit? It would have been acceptable or unacceptable back in the day is now wide open.
It's
Saying
the norm.
curse words, cursing in front of seniors, you know, going up and jacking seniors, you know. I mean, that was the kind of stuff that the neighborhood would whoop your butt. You know, if you went and broke in, missed somebody's house, you know, you might get 4 or 5 other dudes come around and beat you down, you know. I'm gonna play. But so I think morally, I think the whole country, and I think we are really finding ourselves, because we're so integrated and we have so much freedom, that we take advantage of that immoral behavior as well, you know, and I think it's to our detriment.
Dan, close this thing out.
All right.
Oh, let John go.
Yeah.
John.
Okay.
I think we're better both individually as well as collectively. I think what gets highlighted is the negative. Holistically, I do believe that we are better off as a people.
Okay.
I can give examples, but I'm gonna go ahead and win this game.
Are you saying that because you're better off? Or
No, that's why I said holistically. Yeah,
That's why I say you said holistic.
yeah.
You need 5 to go.
Okay.
Dan, come on, wrap this thing up, man.
All right. So, you know, I think it's a lot of things, but I would argue that, you know, yes, in some regards, individually, we're better off. But I would say, when I really peel the onion back, I'd argue that just because we've made more money doesn't make us better off. In so many regards, we've put our focus, our treasure has been on money.
Right.
And even though we have families, we can forget our families are our treasure. And so, how can we have an expectation to be better when we've lost sight of what made us better, and that was the family?
Run it back. One more again.
Can I get
Can you get
acknowledgement that I just won? And why are y'all still
2 games? Wow. So
We got another one to play.
So I mean, and I'm gonna throw this out, Dan. I think you put a bow on it. Just something to think of. I don't think my mother, her parents, would ever thought that we would have had a black president.
There's no doubt.
Right.
So the opportunities that have been made available for us
are there.
are there. So I think it is,
That's-
Johnny, to your point, there's pros and cons on both sides of the equation.
And I didn't
because,
mention money when I mentioned collectively better.
right.
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 That's what I
Right.
said. The opportunity.
Yeah, opportunities are better as we go through. So, like always, you know, peace, love, and hair grease. We thank you for rocking with us. We're gonna battle this out off camera because you know this Joker. He's
I'm
sitting,
victorious.
He's sitting behind a Kappa,
I'm
so I'm
victorious.
going to sit
I'm a
over
Kappa.
there.
I'm a noob.
All 3 of y'all, the
Yeah,
conspiracy.
yeah. Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is. Thank you very much. Peace.